Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the numbers behind an absolute seismic political earthquake, the 2026 Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections. We're going to unpack the raw data and the strategy to see exactly how a two-year-old party completely rewired an entire state's political ecosystem. Let's just jump right in. Okay, to really grasp the sheer scale of this disruption, we've got to understand the baseline. For exactly 60 years, literally dating all the way back to 1967, a rigid duopoly completely dominated Tamil Nadu's politics. Power just swung like a pendulum, back and forth, exclusively between two giants, the DMK and the AIADMK. But as the 2026 results proved, that historical status quo has been completely shattered. And this disruption? It started right at the voting booth. We saw a record-breaking 85.1% of voters turn out. That is an 11.47% surge, meaning millions of newly mobilized voters flooded the polls, instantly diluting those reliable cadre votes that legacy parties have basically leaned on for decades. Section 1, a historic political earthshake, the 2026 disruption. So let's explore exactly how a two-year-old party, the Tamilaga Vedri Kazhagam, or TVK, managed to rewrite the entire political landscape in a single cycle. The raw impact here is just staggering. Founded by actor-turned-politician C. Joseph Vijay, the TVK captured nearly 35% of the popular vote. Think about that. That's over 1.72 crore individual ballots. Meanwhile, the incumbent DMK and AIDMK alliances watched their shares drastically plummet to historic lows. When the dust finally settled, the seat tally perfectly reflected this massive shift. The TVK emerged as the single largest party with 108 seats, compared to just 73 for the DMK alliance and 53 for the AIDMK. But, keep an eye on that number, 108. They actually fell just 10 seats short of a 118-seat simple majority, which triggered the state's very first modern hung assembly. We're going to return to why that matters so much in a minute. Section 2, the educated legislator typology, a new candidate profile. So you're probably wondering, what was the specific formula the TVK used to just completely bypass traditional political machineries? Well, the answer lies in a strategy called cadre engineering. Instead of relying on entrenched local strongmen or caste-based power brokers, which, let's face it, has been the historical norm, the party deliberately fielded modern, technocratic professionals. They aimed their candidate profiles squarely at a highly aspirational, urbanizing voter base. The contrast between these two political models is night and day. Historically, the traditional Dravidian party model has heavily relied on patronage networks, strict party loyalty, and top-down financial control. But this new paradigm, it attempts to completely replace all that by bringing in technocratic professionals who are hyper-focused on data-driven governance and structural welfare. Now, just how formally educated is this new class of politicians? Based on analytical modeling, it's conservatively estimated that a whopping 70 to 80% of the TVK's winning legislators hold graduate degrees or higher. I mean, that vastly exceeds the state's baseline candidate average of 46%. It literally makes them the most formally educated incoming class from a single entity in modern history. And it wasn't random. They strategically matched professions to specific electoral needs. Medical doctors were fielded to signal deep competence in post-pandemic public health and crisis management. Postgraduates were positioned for economic administration. And graduate professionals, like lawyers and engineers, were deployed specifically to appeal to the urban middle classes who really care about regulatory oversight and tech infrastructure. But here's the kicker. Education was only half the equation. The average asset value for these candidates stood at over 16 crores, with 68% of them classified as wealthy Corpatis. This immense personal wealth structurally insulates these candidates. Simply put, because they don't desperately need the party's finances, it totally upends the traditional dynamic of top-down financial coercion from the high command. It essentially fosters a highly independent legislative wing. Section 3, a highly technocratic manifesto. Data-driven policies. Of course, you can't just field highly educated candidates without a platform that actually matches their expertise. The party's 40-point manifesto was pitched as this highly technocratic blueprint. We're talking an education assurance scheme for collateral-free loans, stipends for unemployed graduates, and a massive skill training scheme. They even proposed a Recruitment Accountability Act, which aims to legally mandate that all government hiring processes conclude within exactly 365 days. No more endless waiting. They also smartly targeted the female electorate, knowing full well that women accounted for a massive portion of that new voter surge. Their platform brilliantly integrated cultural traditions with modern delivery systems. They proposed structural economic independence through a 2,500 rupee monthly payout, free LPG cylinders, and even a specialized safety department functioning under the chief minister's direct supervision. Section 4, Rewriting the Demographic Map. Demographic Realignment. So where exactly did this highly specialized, data-driven strategy actually work on the ground? Well, almost everywhere. The TVK pulled off a near-total sweep of the Chennai metropolis, capturing 14 of its 16 seats. But it wasn't just the big urban centers. In reserved constituencies, medical professionals won big, and in places like Avanashi, emerging leaders actually defeated sitting union ministers. From the bustling IT corridors to the agrarian central delta, voters across wildly diverse zones overwhelmingly opted for this new type of candidate. But honestly, the most unbelievable proof of concept for this entire realignment happened in the Kolithur constituency. A veteran grassroots organizer managed to defeat the sitting chief minister and DMK president M.K. Stalin right in his own historical stronghold. I mean, wow. It proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that even the absolute highest echelons of incumbent power were vulnerable to the shifting demographic tide. Section 5. The Hung Assembly Dilemma, a Complex Mandate. Which brings us to the immediate, unprecedented mechanical reality of the 2026 mandate. Because the TVK won exactly 108 seats, they are precisely 10 seats short of an absolute majority. Now they face the incredibly complex constitutional task of forming a government in a hung assembly. The whole state is watching to see if its legislative ranks of advocates, corporate directors, and medical specialists can successfully leverage professional negotiation strategies in a space that is usually dominated by conventional political horse trading. The 2026 election has permanently elevated the baseline for the professional pedigree expected of any legislator in Tamil Nadu. The electorate has clearly signaled a massive shift toward programmatic politics. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. As this newly minted cohort of technocrats takes the assembly floor, how in the world will the legacy giants, the DMK and AIDMK, adapt and modernize their aging frameworks to survive the 2031 elections? Thanks for tuning into this explainer. We'll see you next time.